The baby is then born, right? And when that baby is born, he or she is being checked by the doctors to see how his or her reflexes are whenever the baby is stimulated, right? That's why they, kind of, look at the baby and tap on the baby a bit and all of that. Checking the reflexes, making sure that the baby's reacting like the baby is supposed to, okay? But then some things get a bit messed up after that baby leaves that hospital, or that baby is in the care of some very wicked folks. You see, if the baby already had its share of issues in the womb, there may or may not be some things that are already a little bit off about the baby. Now this newborn, this infant, what have you, is being tortured in some way, abused, okay? There's some things that go on with that baby. Let's say there's a bunch of children in the house, and the children aren't that old. And now, mom is busy doing whatever, and the child is going over there poking at the baby, messing with the baby. Somebody's responsible for changing the baby's diaper, and they want to mess around with the genitals or something, okay? And then, there's those that are just sick in the head, and they do weird things to babies. And you get some people who will drop babies. We've seen videos of this. Just drop them because they're mad. Or the baby is yelling and then they want to do something. I told you I had to walk out the room. Because unless you've been in a room with a crying baby, you don't know how that brain, it starts tripping out a bit. So I had to get away. But I have heard, and it's unfortunate, but in my youth, I saw where there was some mistreatment of children. That is something that I have alluded to in past audio. And when one of my relatives had passed away, repressed memories showed up. I do have an audio about repressed memories for those of you all who need further understanding on that. And when those memories came back, the pain also came back, and some of the things within my being showed back up too, to try to protect me from the stuff that I had heard and that I had saw. I didn't see a newborn when I was a small child being played with in the ways that I talked about, but I did hear as well as see the aftermath of children being severely beaten. So even though it doesn't happen to you, you're traumatized, and so you go into a shock. The newborn who is messed around a lot, abused in some way, dropped, yelled at, poked, prodded, you name it, they get to a place where their body freezes up, just like a toddler. When certain things take place, they freeze up. Their eyes look a little bit out of it, right? Glossy. Any of you all who have seen abused children, babies, you know what I'm talking about. So the newborn is well on its way for more issues, more drama, more trauma, more everything to create, as Fritz Springermeyer has said in one of his books, A Total Mind Control Slave. That's where he or she is headed. Totally mind controlled. You're going to be prepped to be that one that's going to do future evil. You see, when people are doing this, whether consciously or unconsciously, they don't necessarily know how bad the individual is going to be. they're assuming that the child is going to grow up and just listen and obey and do everything. But a lot of folks end up rebelling, and then they have all of this stuff going on with them, repressed memories, disassociation, you name it. And rather than people deal with the issues, instead they throw them in jail over and over and over again. How can someone who has been consciously or unconsciously programmed by parents and grandparents and foster care and, all of these different people that have come in and out of their life, how are they able to really communicate effectively? Hold up, it's not jail that I need. What I need is a counseling program, or I need this or that. Some of them, they can't articulate that. Some of them are too high on recreational drugs to be able to tell you what they're running away from. And others are so high on prescription drugs because handlers, family members, and whoever else is closest to them has said, take this, take this. So they don't have consciousness. They're walking dead. And so when they're walking dead, they're easily controlled. Some of you are concerned about some of your favorite celebrities, and you say this person's just not the same. They're not performing like they used to. They're not creating, because after you done took so many different drugs, whether legal or illegal, the creative part eventually dulls within one's mind. You're not as good as you once were. And so then comes somebody who is a replacement for the mind control slave. For this individual, right, in the hood, who's no longer performing like he or she is supposed to. That's okay. We can get another celebrity in that person's place. There's a whole lot of them that want to be. And so as this movement of exposing takes place, what's also happening is a lot of people are getting wind of what it takes in order to be a superstar. And so as adults, they are willing to take their bodies being mistreated. If it's going to help me, then okay, I'll take this drug. I'll be poked. I'll be prodded. I'll go through all of these different things. Some of them know what's happening because of all of the stuff that they learned about, right? Secrets have been exposed by people around them, so they know. And then others, they don't really know all the details as to what's going on. They haven't read a book. They haven't researched. They've been told that everything is conspiracy. So they don't know until they get behind the closed doors, until they start talking to other celebrities, until they start seeing pictures and videos and audios, until they start seeing a long history of how this is what we did in order to get these people to become superstars. And I know that's what you want, right? Somebody who has been used and abused in a hood somewhere, you know that's what they want. It's about the money. It's about the fame, the fortune. Nobody loved me. Nobody cared for me. My mama was getting beat while I was in the womb. My daddy was, not there. He was in and out of the house. And then eventually he never came back. So, hey, yes, I want to be a star. I want this. I want that. And so they start molding and shaping them into it. So they're never too old, but then again, maybe in some cases to be programmed, because some people get to that place where they're so stubborn, they're so immobile, they're so this and they're so that they can't do anything more for the group. And so they end up gone, sudden heart attack, drug overdose, car accident, whatever it is that the group comes up with. I can't get this person to behave any longer. I'm afraid that their dementia is going to cause them to start talking about things that they're not supposed to talk about. You see, sometimes these people don't consider everything when they continue to let some of these older people be interviewed, some of these older people to be in atmospheres where they can talk to others. And so before long, secrets are out there. But they know how to shut them up, though, that's for sure. So as this newborn is growing up, there's some more things that take place. Like I mentioned, the dad, he ends up going somewhere, the mother or both parents. There's some abandonment that takes place. I know with some relatives, that's what happened with them. Okay. And how do people behave when they're abandoned over and over again? How do they behave when they're not cared for by adults like they're supposed to? I know individuals whose parents were gone all day, and the only time they really got any type of attention was at night. Well, why was the parents gone all day? They was out there running the streets. They was out there working. Some of them didn't have enough money to get a daycare worker to help them out, okay, or babysitter or what have you. So the only time mama and daddy are paying attention to me is at nighttime, or the only time they're paying attention to me, maybe they are around during the day, but the only time they're paying attention is when I perform, when I do well, when I have A's and B's. I don't really receive too much attention outside of schoolwork, performance. Help me do this. If you don't do it, I'm gonna beat you. Okay? Very similar to what goes on with some of these, like I said, very rich elitists when they were used and abused. It happens in the hood. So early on, I just want somebody to pay attention to me. I just want somebody to love me and all of that. And let me tell you, when you do these sorts of things, if you're a parent who recognizes that you're often leaving your child, right, and your child is starting to show signs that they're very needy and they need, this attention from you, and they just want you to give them a hug and what have you, and you're always rejecting them. I'm busy. I got things to do. Don't be coming over here laying your head on me. Mama's tired and all that. Don't go putting your hand on me. What you putting your hand on me for? Okay. You are that programmer. You are that one that's setting them up, whether you consciously know it or not, to do evil in the future, to be the player. No, I'm not training my child to be that way. Well, when you abandon them enough, when you isolate them from other people, oh no, you can't go out there. You can't talk to them. Why? Because you're better than them. Because I'm raising you to be this, that, and the other. Or this is my little mini me, and you got that mini me doing some despicable things. Okay, you got that mini me breaking commandments in the Bible. You got that mini me doing the types of things that sooner or later you gonna reap what you sow, because God sees. While some people say Jesus, Jesus, and they're all up in the church on Sunday pretending as if they're so righteous and everything else, but then unholy through the week, got the kids saying and doing all sorts of stuff, treating them like slaves rather than sons and daughters. You better go over there and do this. You better help out with this. If you don't, oh, wow, you got them on that fast track to psychological programming to do what? Seek after others for attention, and they don't care how they get it. I don't want my child to be a hoe. I don't want my son to be no gigolo. Well, you got him right on the fast track because you're not being attentive to him. Or some folks is being attentive to the point where it's just downright nasty. So it isn't any wonder why the son ends up saying, you know what? I don't even want to see another woman's you know what after all the stuff that my mother put me through. Or I don't want to be involved with any man because you just don't know. It was the father, then it was the uncle, then it was my mother's boyfriend. Traumatized as a baby, traumatized during, being a toddler. You crying? Stop all that crying. Oh, you gonna keep crying? Okay, I'm gonna give you something to cry for. And the baby's just crying because they're thirsty, or the baby's just crying because they're hungry, or the baby's just crying because they want a mother to hold them. And all that mother's doing is yelling and screaming at that baby, or that father is going off the deep end. Why don't you go over there and do something about that baby? The baby keeps crying. That baby is your son. Why don't you go over there and pick him up? I'm not picking him up. If I pick him up, I'm going to shake him, and you just better go over there. Oh my goodness. You see? And meanwhile, nobody's doing anything. I'll just shut the door. I'm going to put my headphones on because I can't take this. Well, I'm going to leave. And now that baby's just crying and crying and crying until the neighbors are like knocking on the door, or the police show up, or they're in some hood somewhere where everybody's baby's crying. And sometimes babies walking around in diapers outside just so that the mother or father can get a break. Or because the mother and father is so high up on drugs that where is the baby? I don't know. Programs early on, the baby, toddler, fragmented mindset, trying to survive. And sometimes while these babies are out here and they're being watched by their peers, you go on in there and take care of the baby. This isn't even my baby. It don't matter. That's your brother or sister. You better watch them. And they're watching them not for 2 hours, but for 5, 6, 8, 10, 12 hours a day. Watching kids, young kids. What do you think's going to happen during that time? That teenager or tween, it's going to start hurting them kids sooner or later because their mind is going to go mad. If an adult can't even handle all of the yelling and the screaming and the baby wants to go into my stuff again and, oh, I got to change another diaper and I got to sit here and feed the baby. And then what do you think a peer is going to do? Somebody maybe just a little bit older, or maybe you think is really responsible, but yet there's bruises. Yet there's the baby shaking, the baby going blank, okay, when certain things happen, the eyes gloss over and so forth. The baby's being tormented, being bullied, being abused. And the baby, while all of that's going on, is learning how to disassociate. But there is no la-la land to disassociate to. In some cases, there just isn't. Because the torture has taken place for so long while mama was working, while daddy was out there. Or both of them wasn't there, but it was the relatives, the grandmother who really didn't need to take on another child in the house. So she then put the teenager up to watching the baby, and the teenager just wants to play his game. And now this baby's in the other room acting up. I'm not going in there to change a diaper. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to get this baby something to cry for. And so the baby is swung around, or the toddler is used in a way that we can't even speak of. Or the child is so hungry that he or she's eating crumbs off the floor. I don't want to take care of this baby. I just want to play my game. He has every right to feel that way. He's a child himself. I don't want to go in here and watch this baby. I just want to paint my nails and watch TV and hang out with my friends. And every single day I feel like I got to do this and this is wrong. I just want to go to school. I just want to get an education.